The Russian State Duma has adopted amendments to the Code of Administrative Offenses in the second and third readings. It has increased tenfold the amount of the fine for failure to appear on a summons to a military recruitment center. Now one will have to pay from 10 to 30,000 rubles. It also toughens the punishment for employers who do not contribute to the mobilization and conscription of employees.
This law continues the systematic tightening of the screws for those liable for military service. It is becoming more and more difficult and dangerous to run away from the military enlistment office. In addition to limiting the rights of those who ignore summonses, there will also be heavy fines. The pressure is increasing not only on conscripts and reservists, but also on their employers and educational organizations. From the publication of the Coalition of Lawyers and Experts of Russian Human Rights Organizations for refusal from military service on Telegram.
The State Duma also passed a law banning conscripts from leaving the country. Now, a citizen will not be able to leave Russia from the day of a summon delivery, including the place of work or study. Meanwhile, Putin has already signed a law on increasing the age of stay in the mobilization reserve by 5 years and the conscription age for compulsory service by 3 years.
This is just such a wake-up call that a second wave of mobilization is needed. Although so far there is no presidential decree that the increase in staffing levels has taken place, and this may suggest that they have decided not to make a second wave of mobilization, but to try to use conscripted servicemen.
Relatives of mobilized and contract servicemen often talk about how Russia is sending everyone it can to slaughter. For example, the relatives of prisoners from whom the assault units were formed are now unable to bury their dead. And the survivors tell us about the real situation at the front.
Men, prisoners, please don't sign these contracts. It is full of lies. Since I have been through a lot in these 2 months, and I have seen a lot of friends and good acquaintances of mine lying dead there, all turn up, nobody takes them. Their bodies are just abandoned. They're just killed. They're butchered like meat. They're not given any chance to survive.
The Kremlin banned the controlled media from reporting on the real demographic situation in the country in order to hide the heavy losses at the front and a large-scale wave of immigration from Russia due to mobilization and repression.
A source from one of the agencies says that the ban has become particularly harsh over the past month, including additional instructions to more tightly censor the birth rate issue. Another tightening of the screws came after a meeting between President Putin and the head of the Health Ministry, Mikhail Murashko, on July 12th. From the publication in the Moscow Times on Telegram.
According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Russian army loses up to 700 people on a battlefield in Ukraine every day. And since February 24, 2022, more than 243,000 Russians have died in the war unleashed by the Putin. But the Kremlin prefers to keep silent about it. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Natalia Husak, Vladimir Stingelov, UATV News.